We are live. Hey everyone, welcome to the All Street Beat. Everyone's just joining us here. It's the Oracles in the house. Jonathan Woolley, Oliver Blakey, Josh Mayer, Nenter Chow, Dave Waslin. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Just while people are arriving, I'm going to welcome everybody who's watching online on the live stream on Twitter, and of course the Oracles themselves. Just orient us to this session today. This is the All Street Beat. For those of you who's new to Commonwealth, the All Street Beat is where All Street gathers. All Street is the Commonwealth community. So it's basically the very best of Commonwealth all in one place. It's a platform where we discuss many things. Before we've talked about, like what are the pitfalls of investing, what's coming in the next bull cycle. That was before the bull cycle came. We were still deep in the bear when we were talking about that. It felt like it was, so far away, but finally we're here. So that's awesome. So the All Street Beat is back now. It's the first time we've had it for about 6 months. And today is a very, very special All Street Beat because we have all of the Oracles joining us. And I'll introduce the Oracles in just a second. But taking a step back, for those of you who are new to Commonwealth, Commonwealth is an all-in-one investment platform opening up access to everybody. So the Web3 community can share in the same value proposition investment deal flow as the 1%, the people who run institutions, VCs, angel investors. They're in quite a closed group of sort of privileged, I would say, in some respects. And now the 99%, thanks to Commonwealth, are able to join that 1%. And that's really what visually is represented here. It's like people who have access are, generally speaking, opening up that access to everyone. But when I say everyone, I mean the All Street community who's watching online. There's a lot of comments coming in. You guys are amazing. Please also feel part of this show today, even if you're not on video. Your comments are going to be read and they'll be incorporated into the thinking around Commonwealth and the new fund. So for those of you who don't know, Commonwealth is an investment platform. We will be launching the first fund on Commonwealth that is a paid fund, and that'll be coming in the next few weeks. The purpose for us today here is to gather as the All Street Oracles. I'm not one of the Oracles, unfortunately, but the other people on the screen are the Oracles. And indeed, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into like how they are seeing the market right now, what they think is interesting, hot. We're going to try not to spend too much time on meme coins because that would take up the whole show, and I'm sure everyone would be super excited about chatting about that. But we're here for more sort of serious investment, things with with hopefully long-term profiles. I'm not saying meme coins are not serious. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to alienate.
Digging yourself into a hole there, Tim.
Don't not financial advice. But yeah, we're here to look at like what due diligence looks like for a professional investor, what they're looking at in the market, what the trends are, how they see the cycle, where we are in the cycle. And all of that is pointing us towards one destination, and that is the next fund on All Street, the next Commonwealth fund. So this is part of the co-creation process together with the All Street Oracles. For those of you not familiar with the Oracles, there's a lot of content online. You can read like the whole concept of the Oracles. But essentially what they are is people who also believe that access can and should be opened up to everybody in Web3, this kind of early stage investment flow access to the Web3 community. So they share the vision of Commonwealth. They are voluntarily here. So thank you for taking your time. And they also voluntarily are willing to connect Commonwealth to some of the investments that they are making in their day jobs, either as angel investors or as running their venture capital firm. So that's the All Street Oracles. Thank you guys so much for being here. Some of them are more familiar to you than others. Hey, Kyle, I'm looking at you. Hey, John, I'm looking at you. And the rest of you maybe are sort of new. So I'm going to ask for like a short introduction from everybody actually here. And Kyle, you can go last, I think. I'm going to ask Karen, just because my eyes jumped on you. Please introduce yourself just very quickly, who you are and what you do, and then we'll do a quick round the house.
Sure. Yeah, great to be here. And my name is Karan. I'm the investment director at Cypher Capital. We are a Dubai-based blockchain-focused fund, being most active on the Middle Eastern region, and come from a background of Bitcoin mining space. So done a bit of mining, done a bit of venture, but my focus has always been predominantly on the venture side. And if you ever in Dubai or any of the community members in Dubai, feel free to drop by to our office. We're more than happy to catch up and talk Commonwealth.
Well, I think most people are going to be in Dubai pretty soon, so that's a very relevant invitation, Karen. Thank you for that. I'll be taking you up on that. I'm going to go top right. Oliver, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, much appreciated for having me, Tim. I'm Oliver. I'm a ex-high stakes poker pro, one of the GPs and co-founders of Paper Ventures now, previously Ascensive Assets, which both are Web3 dominant venture capital firms, Ascensive being more on the A through C type of size, and Paper is more pre-seed, seed, high risk, high return, first in, sort of last out type of venture bets.
Cool. So high risk. How's your meme portfolio looking, Oliver?
I mean, after the last couple of days, quite dry, but yeah.
Okay, we'll get on to that in a second. It's going to be a recurring theme here. Nenter, just because I know your connection's not great, can we say hi and just test your connection? Oh, no, Nenter's jumped out again. Jack, it's early morning for you, sir, I believe. Please say hi.
Hey guys, sorry if I look a little out of it. It's like 6 a.m. over here.
Dude, thanks so much for taking the time. Just introduce, quickly who you are and like what you do.
Yeah, of course. So I'm an investor over at Hashkey Capital, primarily focused on like DeFi, CeFi, RWA, and increasingly AI. Yeah, based out of LA. That's me.
Very cool. Very cool. Thanks for being here, Jack.
Maybe just a little bit of context around Hashkey, because it's fairly large.
Yeah. Sorry. So Hashkey is one of the largest funds out of the APAC region. Been around since 2015. Hashkey Capital is part of the larger Hashkey group that has like one of only 2 licensed exchanges in Hong Kong. We have like a validator and cloud services. And various financial services in Web3.
Nice, lovely. Dave Waslin, say hi, please. If you're on mute, Dave, we can't hear you. Okay, Dave's struggling with his connection. We'll jump over to Josh.
Hey there, guys. Can you hear me properly?
5 on 5, Josh. Come in.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet everyone. I'm the CEO of Andromeda Capital. We're a 30 mil AUM fund based in BVI. Tend to focus mainly on pre-seed and seed, vertical agnostic, chain agnostic, invest both in equity and token. Yeah, we tend to be pretty early when it comes to a lot of projects, and yeah, very much looking forward to working with the other oracles here and making sure we have some really strong deal flow for All Street.
You nailed it. Thanks, Josh, man. John, come in.
Yeah, how's it, guys? First of all, I just wanted to say I'm a little bit disappointed because I've always compared my beard with Josh. And we kind of try to groom who can have the best beard. And then I saw Oliver's today, and I was like, "Well, I'm not even going to compete anymore."
2 hours. So
I've seen some incredible comments in the chat box here about the beards, and the best comment I saw was someone say, as Kyle came on, "Kyle with dog." He's sitting there with his little dog. So I'm sure MemeCoin will pop up in the next couple of days. Kyle with dog.
John, we've got Kyle with dog, we've got Oliver with beard, we've got John with hat. There's a whole plethora of memes coming.
Anyways, guys, let's stick to topic here. We don't have much time. Great to be here. I'm CEO and co-founder of Metaverse Capital. We invest in very early stage gaming projects. We like to get in at a very early stage and kind of advise and help as much as possible, help build cap tables. I'm very good friends with Kyle and Josh. Very nice to meet Jack and Oliver kind of in the flesh finally. Yeah, excited to be here. I love what Commonwealth's doing. I've been a part of the journey from very early stages. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you, John. And Kyle, did we lose Kyle? No, he's there. Hey, Kyle, we haven't had your intro. So for those of you who don't know Kyle, please give a very short intro.
Yep. So I'm Kyle with the laws of. Oh yeah. So I've been in the space since 2012, and previously Master Ventures. Now we've created the group. So it's MV Global, which has LP fund. We're wrapping up fund 1, about to raise fund 2, and then we do also the MV 0 to 1, which is our startup accelerator. Commonwealth being one of them, Paid Network being the other one, and then some others in the pipeline. And I think what's quite interesting, what I realize is that I have a really unique perspective in the space, because I literally have like worn the hat of all parties involved from every stage, from like the grassroots, buying weed with Bitcoin kind of thing, to like ICOs, to running syndicates, to running launch pads, to running a VC fund, to running an incubator. And so understanding the whole perspective is really interesting. I find that that's quite valuable, especially to working with founders.
Amazing. We're going to hear more about your thesis for the market, Kyle, in a few minutes as well. But thanks for that introduction. Dave, are you with us now? Having some issues with Dave's connection, and also Nenter Chow, who is he's with Animoca Ventures. He is joining us as well from Hong Kong right now. There's a conference going on, so he's trying to take time away from the conference. So we'll see there. And if you're wondering why we're so badly represented in terms of diversity here, the gender balance is not great. I will openly admit that. We do have one lady on the council, Juliette Su. She's not here right now because she's going to that conference. She's en route to Hong Kong right now, but she did send her regards, and we will have her in on the next All Street Beat session. So we'll try and get like Dave and Nenter in during the show, but let's get started. Quick tiny bit of housekeeping. So this is very conversational, guys. As much as possible, I'd like us to... Oh, there's Dave. Dave, I'll bring you in a sec. As much as possible, I want us to feel like we're sitting around a table and we're able to just kind of like, raise our hands and sort of speak whenever we want, right? There's no raise your hand function on this platform, but just literally just raise your hand and I'll see it. And then I'll invite you in, and we'll try to keep the conversation flowing. It's not going to be a monologue from anybody. I can promise you that. There are some people who might have to duck out a little bit early, so I might try to prioritize them in the earlier part of the session. It is supposed to run for the full hour. We'll see how far we get. Hopefully that'll be enough. Thank you very much again for taking your time. And everybody online, you are part of the session as well. So whenever I'm asking questions to the oracles, I do also want comments from you guys. To say like, okay, yeah, what do you think is hot right now? Or like, how long do you think the bull cycle is going to last for? How do you see the market right now? What would you like to invest into? All of these types of questions are relevant for everybody here, not just the oracles. Of course, we want to hear from the oracles because they are, seasoned professionals, and that's of course why we're here. There is going to be a prize as well for the community. So whoever comes up with the best name for the Commonwealth's next fund, a reminder that we're going to be launching another fund on Commonwealth very soon. This discussion here is going to help us launch that fund. So whoever can come up with the best name for the fund, we've already got a few like meme names and things like that. You will be getting a prize. It's $100 worth of wealth tokens after public sale, after token launch. Those will go to your wallet if you are the one who comes up with the best name.
I'll double that because that's kind of weak, Tim. We'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll double it as well.
Same for me.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's like double to 200, double to 400, double to
$1,000.
Just make it $1,000. Come on, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, you're completely screwing all of our rewards incentives program. Okay, that's fine. It's cool. $1,000 for the chosen best name for the next fund of Commonwealth.
Big deal.
It'll go down in history. So yeah, let's up the ante. That's cool. Thanks, guys.
Tim
right.
with money, is that what we're going to call it?
What'd you say, Oliver?
We're going to call it Tim with money.
It's not me with money. It's you guys, apparently. Okay, Dave, are you with us? Do you want to say hi?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
5 on 5.
Yes.
Yeah, Dave, go ahead.
All right. Third time's a charm. All right, guys, what's up? I swear I work in tech, just having computer problems. But good to meet everyone. Thank you. I'm Dave. I live in Singapore, from Canada originally. Been an investor in the space since 2016 and co-founded a number of things, one of which is called Wilder World. I'm doing some GambleFi projects right now, and yeah, really happy to be here and love to be connected with everyone. And I will be going to Token 2049, and so see you guys there, and hit me up whenever you're in Singapore.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Dave. Cool. Let's dive right in, guys. So is there anybody here who doesn't believe that we're in a bull cycle right now?
I didn't up until a couple of weeks ago, but Kyle convinced me we are, so I believe we are now.
The smiling faces are confirmation that we are in a bull cycle. But I suppose the question is, like, where are we in the bull cycle? How long do you expect it to last? And where do you think the top is for the cycle? And that's, I think, very useful to hear from everybody, because everybody's got a different view on this. And I would love you to share your views on that with the All Street community. So how do you see it? Whoever's first can jump in.
Yeah, I'll go first. I kind of think we're still fairly early. I think it's very hard to kind of determine exactly where we're going because of all the ETF money that's flowing into the market now. So it's not going to be like regular markets that we've seen in the past. But in saying that, I kind of feel like my target personally is around 200K. I know some people have got a lot higher targets, but in saying that, I think that everyone listening to this has got to be quite careful, because I think everyone in this panel is bullish. But, you know, if you're going to start doing things like leverage trading, you know, we might be at 70K tomorrow, and then you might think, oh, listen to that All Street beat yesterday, and these guys all say we're going to 200K. Go put on like a 10x leverage, and then all of a sudden we're back at like 55K in a couple of weeks, and everyone gets wrecked. So everyone needs to be careful, but I kind of think we are going to see 200K at some points in this cycle.
Okay, wow, John said 200K. What's your time frame, John? Do you have one?
I don't have a time frame, but I do think we are still quite early in the cycle. So I would say sometime in the next sort of 12 months.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. I mean, I think one of the interesting things, I mean, this is the first time we've ever seen a bull cycle where before the halving, we actually are, you know, hitting new all-time highs. I mean, that's super exciting. It's crazy. You know, I'll be honest, I absolutely did not think we would hit a new all-time high before the bull cycle, before the halving. But you know, here we are. So we are kind of in uncharted waters. There's massive inflows happening still from you know, from the ETFs. There's a lot of you know, bullish momentum that's happening. You know, I do think we're going to probably have a little bit of sideways chop as a lot of the indicators have to reset, and you know, we're going to need a little bit of time to you know, to start really going. But I do believe, kind of as John said, that we're probably going somewhere in that you know, couple 100,000 range. And I mean, from a timeline perspective, typically you see from the halving somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 months or so of quite bullish activity. That's kind of my typical target, is around 15 months. But what's different with this cycle is that we, you know, hit an all-time high earlier. So there definitely could be some, you know, some changes with that. But yeah, I think we just have to be careful, really watch the market and make sure that we're, you know, prepared for volatility, because I think that's going to be inevitable.
Nice. Both of you, John and Josh, you've exercised some cautionary words when you're speaking about the market. I think that's very important. By the way, nothing here is financial advice, of course, and I think everybody just needs to do their own kind of research and analysis. What we're doing here is giving you an under the hood kind of look at like how people who live and breathe this stuff are seeing the markets right now, which hopefully is helpful, useful. But again, you know, this is only perspectives, and thank you for sharing your perspectives, guys. Anybody got a different view? Anybody want to add?
I want to add, actually. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, I think what I wanted to add is very similar thought process. Usually the halving is like an indicator where we have like a 15 to 18 month cycle. It's been the case before, but since BTC has broken all-time high before the halving, so it might be a bit tricky this time. So our sort of strategy and our thought process is that time in the market is better than timing the market, ideally. So, you know, be careful, take your right bets, be very calculated on sort of the narratives that you're focusing on. And in terms of like price action itself, it's hard to put like a price target, but I mean, I have like a different thought process. Like if the all-time market cap last season was 3 trillion, say if this season we go to 6 to 8, so 50% dominance would be in that 150, 160K range of BTC, which matches with similar to the John and Joss's viewpoint. And I think the season should be in next 6 to 12 months instead of 12 months, in my opinion, because all-time high just broke earlier. So yeah.
Interesting. I see Jack is nodding his head there. You want to come in, Jack?
Yeah. I'm just gonna say I definitely agree with Karan here that this is gonna be a abbreviated bull market for sure. Like we achieved all-time highs like very rapidly. I definitely agree with the 6 to 12 month timeline rather than the longer like 15-month timeline for sure. Like no question. I think this month is gonna be obviously a really big month, right? We've got like a ton of airdrops in both Base and Solana. So I think this pullback that we've been experiencing is kind of like the last one before we have a major departure. So very, very excited about that, because not only do we have all these airdrops, but we also have, the halving coming up, and token 2049. It's funny, if you look at the charts, you can see the bull market effectively kicked off in earnest like the first day of ETH Denver. So it'll be very interesting to see how a lot of these like big conferences and what people are cooking up at these conferences impact the charts. But yeah, just generally definitely very much agree that this is going to be an abbreviated bull market.
Okay, that's interesting. You think somebody's going to say something or do something potentially at the Token 2049 conference, which is the end of April?
I think there's a lot of factors that are going to make April a hot month, like I was saying. But I think that when you have these conferences where you have a bunch of these like big movers in the industry come together, they either, a bunch of them are going to make big announcements, and some people are going to cook some stuff up and like plot some stuff together, behind the scenes. And we'll see some price action that's motivated by like some coordinated capital. Like I think generally when you have these major conferences, that makes things happen.
Sounds like a good man to hang out with at a conference.
A lot of fun.
Carl, you wanted to come in too.
Yeah, so it's nice to have the oracles be balanced, because we have different perspectives. I've always been I started building the world's first Bitcoin lottery in 2013 because I thought by 2015 or 17 or something, for sure it would already be world reserve currency, right? I was very early, a little naive, working on my timing, but I think it is inevitable that we do have eventually the inevitable supply shock. And I know everyone always references historical data when referring to, and all the time I just say, one day this is going to be one day we're going to go through this transition, this shift where it just completely annihilates everything that we've known from before. But then we're following a lot of the same fucking things that we followed before. These double bottoms before the halving, and this correction before that. So there's a lot of patterns that are resembling it. So maybe there's some truth to it. But I do think that it's not a matter of if Bitcoin is going to become a world reserve currency. I think it is in that process. I think it's not if this country adopts it, it's just when, because if you don't, you're basically going to fade out like a dinosaur, because you're on your horrible monetary system that doesn't work anymore. So the only real hard asset in the world is Bitcoin. So if you don't adopt that and get that in your coffers, you're going to fall behind. Right? You don't have whatever the whole world is going to trade on soon enough. So there will be a time when, and I feel like it's happening now. We're starting to see that more people now. It's just this kind of slowly then suddenly thing, and I feel like we're at the very beginning of this really fucking crazy suddenly. A lot of metrics show that a lot of people are buying Bitcoin that don't plan on selling it. They're just Michael Sayloring it, and then we have the other guys coming in like Michael Sayloring it. Creating their new securitizing their equity, right, and taking a loan against it, whatever, collateralizing it, and then getting Bitcoin. And so I think that will lead to some kind of insane shit that we've never seen. And so while I think everyone else is correct, if we're looking at historical data, that would make a lot of sense. I also wouldn't be surprised with the rate at which fiat is being printed around the world, that the debt is growing around the world, but especially compared to dollar, purchasing power, Bitcoin versus dollar, that would wouldn't be unreasonable for it to go up to 1 million in the next couple of years. You know, like just keep going, because it's going to be, it's like they give them musical chairs or whatever. When you know, when someone, Bitcoin's at what, what is it now? 70, 68,000, whatever. If someone told me right now, if you guys told me to buy my Bitcoin for 72,000, I'd say no. 75,000, no. Why? Because I literally don't want to go to my hardware wallet and get it. Like, there might be a price in which you tell me that it makes sense for me to go fucking dig out my cold storage somewhere, access those very cold, very frosty Bitcoin that haven't moved in ever, and I might sell them to you only to go quickly arbitrage and buy another one, right? But like the idea of me selling it for fiat is out of the question, and a lot of people are like that around the world. And so, and it's just a matter of time before we wake up. So I think that we're on the verge of the super cycle. Suzu and Kyle were wrong they were fully leveraged on that bet. I think that's probably not a good. I wouldn't fully leverage everything on this run, but I think within either this one or the next cycle for sure. And then there won't be these crazy, and then you won't have like crazy cycles anymore. One day Bitcoin will just be stable, and then we'll have like, and then altcoins will be like more like an equities market, right? Where we see like more reasonable valuations. You're not going to have this kind of crazy, and then Commonwealth will literally be the largest fund on the planet that's owned by the people. Like, how sick is that? Like,
wow.
Kyle, are you of the same kind of opinion as Rand, where he's saying this could be, you know, the last cycle to make real money, or are you kind of like, no, there's going to be many more cycles?
No, I think there's always, because we have liquidity quicker. We can always turn that quicker than an equity. So I think that ability for us to even, and to some degree, I hate the idea of like security tokens. On another degree, I kind of like the idea because they clarify to the people where the value accrues. Like, you know, like if you have a centralized company and you want to tokenize equity, that's good. They can do that, but like that's a security, and that should be a security token, and it clarifies things for the whole space. So people like the Commonwealth has actual proper token economy, a real utility token that has real value capture and real accrual that goes back into the ecosystem. But there's a lot of projects out there, 99% of them don't, right? And those things should probably be securities and security tokens and do some sort of revenue share. And like, so I think that will be, but the point is that we have access to liquidity quicker in our investments than we will ever then you'll never see those days ever get of paper things or 3 to 5 days of clearing time, you know? So, or 8 years to an exit, right? We'll have partial exits fairly quickly where we can have liquidity sooner and flip that and turn around. But I do think that, you know, this is going to be it'll be the most insane cycle probably. It will be like, it'll feel like more like 2017 and 2021, that's for sure. And I think there's going to be more demand and hunger from the retail than there's ever been before. I think that this cycle is going to make everything like look like a pancake, you know, like when it comes down to just numbers, sheer volume, people coming in, because now it's been institutionalized and accepted, right? It was always been stigmatized every cycle. So now, like, anyone who was waiting for that green light is like, all right, game on, motherfucker. If Fink says it's okay, then it's okay, you know? And I think that's it's going to be a big one. Now you've got, you know, account abstraction and easy to onboard, Coinbase smart wallets. You've got, you know, like, it's going to be super easy for people to use, right? They're going to be able to come to something like Commonwealth, chuck in $20 into random funds every month or whatever they want to do, and like start like, yeah. So I don't know. That's just my
yeah, like you can tell who the influencer is in the group, right? Anybody who wants to dive more into Kyle's market thesis, there is a lot of content coming out on a daily basis. It is absolutely brilliant content. So please, like, you know, keep dialed into that. I do want to hear from other people who are maybe less, you know, perma bull. Like Kyle has a really fascinating view of the world. That's amazing. But, you know, someone like you, Oliver, you know, you're dealing with, you know, a lot of institutions and like traditional TradFi people. Like, what do you say when you hear this type of thing, or like, what's your outlook?
I think everybody in the industry, or most people in the industry, always seem to think, okay, are we at the start of the bull cycle or the bear cycle, or what's going on, right? And I think the reason the industry is not just one, but one of the reasons the industry has consistently been through such volatile cycles, outside of all the scams and all that bullshit, but like, it's because everybody is always looking for price targets of like, oh, I think it's going to go to 200K. If you're saying that, then you should be selling at 200K, right? Then you're a trader, you're not an investor. It's very different, and people don't actually understand the difference. Like, this industry is small, and we have cycles based around liquidity being king. Like, there isn't a lot of liquidity, and when liquidity is low, that creates volatility, which then produces cycles, right? And obviously, in a emerging, I guess, tech class or whatever asset, that's when people don't really understand how much risk to put on in terms of investment, right? You hear people say this is like the internet, or this is like the .com, but like so much random bullshit. Like it's a completely different game. Venture Web 2 investing and venture Web 3 investing are like completely different. Hence, you see a lot of the traditional Web 2 VCs come over and just get fucking spanked around, right? Because they're investing in random shitcoins on a 10-year outlook and not really understanding anything fundamentally. This is more of a game of like, what is the timeline for this to merge into real liquidity? That being when a lot of the large institutional managers, which are 30, 40, 50 times bigger than half of the largest people in this space, everything accrues to longer term investing. Right now, we're still like mid-term to short-term investing and everything. I think the things that actually make substantial economic change have probably not even been founded or invented yet. Not to say that we are early. I just think we get over leveraged in this industry on stupidity. Hence why everyone ends up getting wrecked is the best way to say it. And we're more looking at a timeline of when do we merge to traditional sort of venture investing or some type of hybrid where you're looking on a larger time scale. Your vesting schedules for your unlocks are not based around a time date. They're based around KPIs, and founders tokens are not vested 20% every quarter. They're vested when you actually go public and you start hitting milestones in the underlying company.
Interesting. And yeah, go ahead.
So everything you just said, Ollie, would you call yourself a trader or an investor? I mean, do you set targets and you say, I'm going to be quite strict here and I'm going to sell 15, 20%, I'm going to take some off the table just in case, my thesis or my opinion isn't exactly where I thought it was going to go? Or are you like, I'm an investor, I don't care if we dip 80%, I'm just going to carry on holding?
It varies from investment to investment. Like I can invest in a founder now and he's, 6 months time. Like you see a lot with founders in this industry. Once you give them $5-6 million and they get a few Twitter followers and likes, right? They think they're fucking awesome, right? And then next you're like, okay, this is an investment I should be de-risking substantially here because they're just not understanding like the longevity of the game, right? And also things get overvalued in this industry very, very quick, right? I mean, what was the stablecoin thing that launched yesterday? Athena, whatever the thing was called, right? The underlying value of that Athena thing is basically we're going to do a stablecoin that's basically custodied on Binance just after FTX and Luna blew up, and it's valued at $12 billion. Like, I mean, if I'm an investor, I'm pretty sure we passed on that, but I don't understand why I didn't take the calls. But like that in my mind is where you should be exiting your position if you are a venture investor with outside investors. Like I have a duty to my investors to take profit, right? Currently, profit is derived in USD or USDC or whatever, not in. I'm not a Bitcoin denominated fund or an Ethereum denominated fund, right? So it's subject to every investment based upon a multitude of variables, which obviously I know is a broad answer, but
no, it's a good answer. It's a good answer.
Oliver, can I ask? I mean, you gave very clear criteria for what you think is going to happen in terms of the merging of liquidities. Is that already starting to happen for you? With the ETFs and that kind of development? And if so, does that kind of mean that your outlook, if I'm interpreting well, is that there's going to be less volatile cycles and more of a normalized kind of just merging with the traditional sort of financial industry? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, we say like I wouldn't say we go to less cycles because in theory the S&P's been in a 10-15 year bull cycle, right? So it's more, I think at the minute the only real liquidity has still came in for Bitcoin, right? If an ETF passes, then yeah, for sure, like that can then trickle down, but I think we're still a long way from like liquidity merging on anything outside of Bitcoin. And I'm by no means a Bitcoin or ETH maxi, right? So
Okay, so still a ways to go. I'm conscious that we haven't heard from Ben yet. It's early in the morning for Ben too, and also from Dave. And Dave, it's getting late for you on your side. Do you guys have other views than what have been expressed about the market and like the cycle and targets, or whether or not targets are even relevant? What are your thoughts hearing everything you've heard so far?
Sure, I can jump in next. Some things for me when I think about it, it's just like what's logical, like what's practical. And there's things that are in the macro markets. If you look at some of the prior cycles and things in the macro markets, like in the last cycle, COVID happened and everybody was stuck at home. There's nothing to do. We were on our computers and people were buying digital currencies. They were getting into it. They were researching online. They're stuck at home. They're buying NFTs. That was trying to blow up the market and bring in new retail buying. And then there's U.S. economics, and there's elections, and how much money is being printed into the market, and what are people doing with that? They're, tossing it into NFTs and things. And then where we are now, interest rates went super high. People were tightening, so there's less liquidity in the market, and people were risk off. Now we're entering a cycle where interest rates could go back down, and we could be seeing more risk on. And then at the same time, there's the internal things inside the industry, which are the Bitcoin halving cycles. Like everybody knows that they happen every 4 years. Everybody knows that it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy that it's a rush and it's a bull and everyone goes into it and they know it's happening and it's literally self-fulfilling, and then it goes up too much too fast. And some other catalysts such as DeFi summer in 2020, that was a big catalyst. And then, as I said, COVID and some of these things like NFTs. What's the next catalyst inside the industry in this bull? It just started with the Bitcoin ETF. That was major. That kind of kickstarted everything. And then what's next? Is it going to be GameFi? In the last cycle, a lot of people thought it was going to be GameFi, and a lot of businesses got funded back then. And now they've been building, they're going to come to market, and this could onboard the hundreds of thousands, millions, and hundreds of millions of people. And is that the next thing that's going to be the internal catalyst? So when I look at these things, it's kind of like, what's the macro market doing? And it's bull. Like, we're going to have slower interest rates, and there's going to be more money printed. There's going to be an election this year in the U.S., so there's going to be both sides of the parties that are going to be stimulating the economy. And then inside the economy, in industry, what are we doing? I think businesses are flush. Businesses that have been building for the past several years are going to come online and bring in more users. So to answer the original question, we're definitely in bull. We're in the first third of the bull. I don't really know. I don't really look at like what's the ultimate price going to be or what month it's going to happen, but it's just kind of like, what are the big signs? We're entering something big here, and position accordingly.
Nice, Dave. Thanks.
I think a very interesting perspective also is the fact that, realistically speaking, the volume right now is coming from institutions. It's institutional volume that's coming in. It's very different than previous cycles. So something that I think is really exciting is, we have explosive volume that I do still think is going to be coming in from retail. I totally agree that, retail is going to be a huge part of this cycle as well. But right now, if you actually look at like Google Trends and all of that, retail is only just starting to step back in now. They're only really starting, you see the memes start going. Memes kind of indicate often that, retail money is starting to come back into the space. And, I really do feel that, as we see the halving happen, and as this, kind of continual amount of inflows are coming from the ETFs, you're going to see a supply shock, and that supply shock is going to lead to more news going on worldwide. And as that news comes out, more retail people hear it again, and they remember about Bitcoin. They start coming back out of the woodwork, and I think that's how it starts getting, a little more parabolic. So, I think we're kind of entering a really interesting phase right now for the market, where we are going to start seeing that, that retail money get onboarded. And as that retail money gets onboarded, it's going to drive things like altcoins. And I think what Dave said is right bang on with gaming, because last cycle we saw excitement around gaming, the excitement around the potential of gaming. And we had things, like, we all know our favorite Asian game that, that blew up the world, but, kind of had Ponzi-nomics and never really worked out. And in this cycle, we actually have real games that are building. They are ready to go. We have, Godzilla, we have Avalon, we have Cross the Ages. We have, there's a huge multitude of massive games that actually have real product that I think is going to onboard heavy users. And I think that's going to be potentially one of the largest catalysts for bringing in, massive retail volume. I mean, Godzilla is launching on Xbox and PlayStation. That's insanely huge for, for our industry as a whole. And I do think that that's, a high potential to start kicking things off from a retail perspective.
Interesting. Josh, you've jumped into the next topic, which is perfect. This is a great segue. But also, Ben, are you with us? And have you had your morning coffee yet?
Well, I'm fresh off a flight, so I landed. I'm on the West Coast right now, the U.S., and landed 5 hours ago. So I'm a little rusty this morning. But yeah, I
Go meet Jack for breakfast somewhere in LA. I don't know if you're that close.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for you in Dubai. Get here as well.
Yeah, I'll be there on the 11th. So I can't wait to see everyone. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a market, right? Crypto is a market. It's a new market. And the one thing everyone tries to do, including myself at times, is tries to, pick a number, pick a target that everybody, or that myself or everybody out there is trying to, put an idea at and say, okay, we can possibly reach these levels, or this is where we're going. It's human nature. We need something to shoot for. But the one thing for certain is crypto always, or it has in the past, always overshot on the upside and overshot on the downside. It goes much higher than everybody thinks it will go, and it goes much lower than everybody thinks it will go. So for me, it's not really the absolute target. It's more level by level, and that is kind of how I look at things chart wise and investment wise. I more or less look at timing of the cycle. I really concentrate on vesting schedules. I really concentrate on, what is this project doing relative to the overall space? Is this a game-changing project, a project that is vital to the underlying ecosystem of the crypto market that is building out, can be built on top of? Is it infrastructure, or is this a DApp that is going to be built on top of the infrastructure? Because both have different timelines in the overall growth spurts in what we're experiencing. So, if you have an infrastructure play, obviously, if it's a good infrastructure play, it will be utilized for many cycles. If it's a DApp, we'll see. So is it going to work? Maybe not. Is it the right time for it?
Already had the beta.
Yeah, it is it the right time for this DApp? Maybe not. So it just really depends. I play things really just kind of on a level by level basis, not as an absolute term. But I do think that, the entire crypto market as a whole is relatively young. How is it going to play out in the next year? I think we go up. How is it going to play out in the next 2 years? Maybe we'll go up. Maybe we'll go up and then come down. Who knows?
So Ben, I want to point a question to you and then to everybody, and you've already started answering it. But so
Yep.
you guys see like a bunch of opportunities on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, and even more so right now, I'd imagine. So like what is it right now that if someone pinged you that you'd actually take a second look at very quickly? Like what is it that would actually like make your ears stand up? And is there, I know meme coins is a tempting answer, but if we can sort of just park that to one side just for this conversation, because they're a specific category that we can't really deal with when it comes to doing due diligence right now for the first fund for Commonwealth. So that's why I'm kind of just ring fencing it, not because I don't like them, but just because it's a separate topic. But
can I jump into? I want to do a perspective shift here, right? A paradigm shift, because first of all, like you said in the beginning, all of us here are privileged. We have been the 1%, right? And like we are very lucky. We even get to have this conversation. So most people don't. They're only PvP all day long in the secondary market, playing against absolute sharks that just eat them up all day long, right? And most people are horrible at trading, so they get completely royally screwed. Like once I don't trade at all, only a little bit for fun. Like I'm going to the casino, right? And I plan on losing that money. It's literally just for fun to see, to give myself some dopamine while I'm like doing my work, whatever. But once you have the ability to early stage invest, and I'm in the same. For those of you guys listening, the difference in perspective between someone like Oliver and Ben is that do you have a lot of LP capital that you can afford to sit on those things and wait for them to do the 1000x's, or do you need to roll over your capital relatively quickly and make sure that you're like safeguarded for a bear market, right? If you have an LP fund that's sufficiently capitalized, like you can more calculated, and if you have strong conviction, and then you're okay maybe holding that all the way up until the next run, like for longer terms. I would personally rather like almost everything, even in meme coins, man. That's why I don't spread my bets too thin, because which is the opposite of some like Rand Nooner's strategy of spreading thin. Like I don't do that because I don't have time to look at the charts, right? I don't have any time at all. I want to study something. I want to understand it very fucking well, and I want to have very big conviction and be prepared for that to either go to the moon or go to zero, right? And eventually you get better at doing that. And I think that's what a lot of us who have been our scars or wounds, like we're doing this. It gives us a lot of ability to kind of help fine tune that process. And hopefully, as we continue to grow as investors, we do get better, right? And so I wanted to pause and have a perspective shift, because that wasn't even a conversation our discussion that most people listening to this would have ever had the option to do until Commonwealth. And that's why I'm so happy that we're actually doing it, because wow, there's a different way to enter the crypto market than just trading on the secondary market now, which is mind blowing, actually. Like it's fucking incredible, actually.
I would add on to that. Yeah, quickly.
Sorry, go for it, Ollie.
I would add on to what Carl's saying of like, he just trades more for the gambling aspect, and like most people in this industry, that like everyone, I guess that's listening here, like following on Twitter or whatever, and like you don't see most of them posting anything to the downside. And like truth be it, like they're all fucking broke. That's why. And when you put logic on side of it, like I'm not a trader, so like obviously take certain things I say with a grain of salt, but like when you see this, next influencer kid like drawing triangles and stars on some meme coin chart that's got $12 in liquidity, like understand he has no fucking clue what he's talking about, right? That's just basic common sense. If you don't have to take a generic sort of longer term investment strategy, like 3-4 years in this industry is a long time. Most people just dollar cost averaging into top 5 majors will outperform, honestly, most of the venture funds in this industry that's raised over 250 mil, because they don't even understand how liquidity moves around the market. So I would say at least like just be simplicity is the key in this industry. Like you don't have to rush, like patience. There's always another deal. Like it doesn't really matter. And FOMOing and following anybody else will like just get you destroyed. This industry is so new that most people, myself included, don't know what we're doing, right? You learn as you go along, and everyone's strategy is different, right? And there's a million ways to skin a cat, and like it's the same way to make money, I think, in this industry.
And then the longer you've been in this, the more you realize that that's actually true. Like I used to have a lot of pushback from a lot of the people that we hired from Deloitte, and they would always look at the Alameda researches of the world to look to. Oh, how come we don't look at? How come our website doesn't look like them? How come we don't do what they're doing? I'm like, because they don't fucking know what they're doing, man. They're trust fund kids or something. I don't know how they got that money, but like they obviously didn't earn it, right? They're placed there.
I can tell you how they got that money. It's from everyone listening here depositing on FTX, and it just
that's right. Yeah.
how they got their money.
But just steadfast lads. Steadfast lads. Like I think like I'm pretty sure I know what I'm doing here. Like let's just stay true to our core ethos and like Oliver said, don't follow people. Just do your own due diligence, and try to do what you think is right. Like otherwise you'll never learn anything.
Okay,
right?
John.
I think every person on this call can say that, you get to where we are, or where we're sitting now by literally learning from, the school of hard knocks. I mean, you look at like the first cycle I did, did very well in my, my first cycle, but, I went right back to where I started. And, I held everything just like it was a traditional asset. And, it went up and I had a full roller coaster ride all the way back down. And, I think each cycle you learn new things. And as Kyle says, I mean, nobody really knows everything that they're doing in a new sector like this. We have to learn as we go. We have to, learn from experiences and have to find the best ways to, move things forward, as investors and as fund managers.
Well, that's literally why we are gathering here today and why the oracles exist, because there is a collective intelligence that is represented here that hopefully can help and kind of be integrated into a system that can be opened up for a lot more people, right? So whilst you guys are doing this as a volunteer basis, like even just being on here and sharing this insight is learning in itself to for everyone else listening, but also integrated into what comes on to the Commonwealth platform in terms of the new fund, right? So this wisdom should be reflected somehow as well, right? So that's also part of this whole platform and the discussion. I wanted to go back because we don't have a huge amount of time left, but
one thing really important what you just said is we do it. What's really cool. I won't describe it on the call, but like. So we have the oracles, which represents like the people who put their actual capital in and have that at risk. And so we have some degree of risk minimization from the oracles. But we have the community fund where people don't have to put their own money in. It's earned through on-chain taxation and through revenue. And so that's where you guys get to go, and it's completely ran by the community. And you guys get to go make all the trial and error that you want to, with some guidance from us. And like you're not losing any money there. It's a fund that just keeps funding itself perpetually. And so that will be the school of hard knocks for you guys, but you won't have to lose your own money doing it. So that's
I'm going to ask Jack to come in, and then I want to ask my question because I do need to get your alpha. Go ahead, Jack.
Well, I was just going to touch on that, right? So I feel like for most on the alpha subject, for most of this call, we've kind of spent talking on like generalities and big picture stuff. But I think what most people are like really interested in, like the juicy bit, is like, what are we actually bullish on?
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, like, I think that's what people are very interested in. Unfortunately, generally right now, it's a very difficult time to invest in venture and primary market deals, as I'm sure everyone on this call can agree, because valuations are insane right now, right? Like founders, like I know a founder who was raising at like a $40 million valuation for his company, or planning to, like 2 months ago. Now he's getting term sheets in the $80 to $160 million range. All right. And we're like, because I think we're in an abbreviated bull market, there's also just an inherent risk in investing in anything at a very high valuation right now, while expecting to pull a return on it in this market, unless they're very close to launching a token. So I think like pre-TGE OTC deals for late stage projects that already have a token on the market is like that's a lot of what I'm interested in right now. Also, things that are going to be bear market resistant, that have low valuations right now. So I really like the RWA space for that reason, and hypothetically the DePIN space. For me, I'll say this though. I've seen very few projects in the DePIN space that have kind of circumvented this fundamental problem with DePIN, which is that it's very easy to get supply and very difficult to get demand. One area where I would say that is not the case is with AI data DePIN projects like Wind Network, aka like Get Grass. and also a couple of these like human feedback, like data labeling projects, like Kiva AI, for example. That's, well, I don't know if there's any information out on that yet, but that's going to be a good one when they publish information to the market on that, specifically because it's a two-sided marketplace, right? So you have a decentralized collection of data and then a centralized sale of that data. So the sale aspect functions very similar to how these operations work in Web 2. So it has the advantages of Web 3 and DePIN in terms of like data collection. And so I see someone in the chat says RWA is bigger than DePIN. Yes, that's true, but that's also not necessarily that's not necessarily true in terms of opportunity for us. Like, yes, RWA is bigger than DePIN, but a lot of that's going to be on the institutional side. And a lot of these major institutions like Franklin Templeton are going to have their like proprietary tokenization engines. So there's not a whole lot of opportunity for venture for a lot of these segments. But I am very interested in trade finance. I'll let other people speak because I know we're closing on.
So Jack, basically what Jack did, can everyone else do that, but like in 30 seconds so that we can get around the houses? I want to hear like what is interesting to you right now when someone pins you on Telegram, like, and what would you take a second and third and fourth look at and have a conversation with the founders? What is that?
Go ahead, John.
I just wanted to make one comment. Like, while we've been on this call, we've had 2 projects launch, Dopamine and another one, Wormhole. Like, these are projects that I'm so excited for, everyone on this call listening, everyone involved in Commonwealth, instead of going out, racing to Mexi or racing to one of these exchanges and going and buying at 20, 30x multiples of what we're paying, you guys will be involved in those launches and kind of looking and going, wow, we got into that project at, pre-seed round or a seed round, instead of kind of being the suckers that are buying, 30, 40x. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of say I'm really, really excited for that to happen and for all you guys to be involved.
I'd also like note on that like Wormhole, for instance, right? Like, when did they raise, right? It wasn't this cycle. So this will be back to what Jack's saying of like, you either want more shorter term, like closer to launch stuff, or stuff that you're looking to launch, like in theory next cycle, right? Although I'm not the cycle guy, right? You can't be thinking if you're firing heavy into overvalued shit right now that like you're actually going to find an exit, because you're just not, right? Unless you are doing the whatever, let's call it pre-IPO stuff or whatever. And then to the flip side, which makes then most people go liquid, like you then either follow the crowd or have to find gems. And on the gems side, you have to do a lot of due diligence, right? People are scooping up stuff on open markets right now and not understanding, oh, actually, this company went broke 2 years ago, like there's a ton of DD on both sides. And I think they're completely different depending on what your strategy is. And it goes back to just 4 or 5 year, if that's a minimum timeline, like relaxed, chill, basic investing is still going to outperform.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you look at just some of the best investments that we made as a, as a fund. Realistically, some of them were, investments that were made quite some time ago, where you work with the team over a period of a couple of years, and now these projects are coming to market and launching at very strong valuations, at many, many times what we invested in them at. And, I think that's kind of the name of the game when it comes to investment. I mean, you look at some of the projects like, Monad and Zero Gravity and some of these big ones that are, raising right now. I mean, these projects have a 1-year cliff and 3 years of vesting after that. This is not a this cycle investment. If you're, putting money into any of these, you're not expecting to get a return on that investment in this cycle, unless Kyle's right and it is a super cycle and it goes on forever. I really hope that's the case. That'd be amazing. But realistically, I'm not investing in a project right now that's got a 1-year cliff and 3 years of vesting, expecting that this cycle I'm going to get a return on it, because that's just not probable. It's not realistic.
I think that also what people miss on that factor is like, I think Monad will do great things, right? But am I buying it at 1.2 billion? Absolutely not. Like on a 1-year, 3-year lock, like what can you do actually having opportunity cost, right? So if you actually don't deploy that locked up liquidity, you have it in your pocket. How much Bitcoin and Ethereum can you dollar cost average into over the next 4 years? Does that outperform buying something at 1.2 billion? Probably over the long term across multiple different things. Like you have access to direct liquidity whenever you want it. Like you're probably going to be looking at the same type of returns, maybe even more on the liquid side. there's a lot of things that people don't factor into that instead of just trying to get into the hottest new deal that's on town, you know.
Okay,
I think
I do want to
one
hear
thing that we've been
what is interesting. I need to hear that. So Karen, Dave, and Ben, I want to hear from you guys as well. Like, what is piquing your interest right now as investors?
I think I do agree that valuations have definitely been trading at a premium. Now we've seen this new sort of space that started back in 2020 as well, the tranche-based trades. Every 2 weeks the price valuation goes up, and that's sort of the indication of the cycle. But I think what we've been looking at is also trying to look for proxies as well. So if we've got a very clear thesis on a certain segment, and then sort of the main key player there is extremely overvalued or trading at a high premium, we're now looking at proxies on sort of other projects that are in that segment and probably have a decent tech and will survive the bear market to take a bet on. But in terms of like sectors, like pretty much, yeah, looking at DeepIn and RW as well. But I think on our perspective, since we come from a mining background, we are also trying to understand use cases on Bitcoin. Of course, there are like 45 layer 2s coming right now, which I'm not sure if that's the right way, but we're also trying to understand smart programmability on BTC natively, which is of course not something that can be executed this cycle, but maybe in the next cycle. So long-term play only.
Awesome. Thanks, Karen. That's perfect. Dave and Ben, Ben, you already started, but like finish off with your thesis and like what's interesting for you. But Dave, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Again, sometimes I think about things practically, and early days in crypto, things were pretty obscure. It was blockchain, and then in the 2017 cycle, it was ICOs and smart contracts. Then the last cycle, it was DeFi, and it got a little bit more and more, things get more and more retail and more tangible. And, it was DeFi and NFTs. You couldn't really do too much with NFTs, but it's kind of cool. And then now maybe we're getting into real world assets and GameFi and DeepIn and things that you can kind of touch and feel. And so in terms of industries, I really like that. I like things that you can touch and play with and have fun and use. I think that's the purpose of creating this decentralized technology. But another thing besides this specific industry, I just like businesses that have founders or a advisory board or a team around them that know how this game works. Like for better or worse, this is a game and it's really hard to play it. You need to know how the cycles work. You need to know how liquidity works. If you're launching a token, you need to know how all the little nuances work. And I've had some massive successes, massive failures, and learned it the hard way, just like all of us on the line. But to be in this industry, you really need to know the creature that is crypto. And so when we do investing, it's really about the team and like, do they understand the cycles? How are they launching? And who are the team members around them to play the markets right? Because it's really, really important above and beyond just the tech that you're building and the product that you're building. It's how to play the crypto markets.
Dave, I love that. The things that you can touch and feel and play with, like there's much more of a real dimension to the cycle. And I think that's key in terms of understanding like, where to look, because it is a myriad of things. You still get a lot of L1s coming out, the BRC L2s. Like there's so much that's happening. It is very, very difficult. It's a big, bad world. And like you said, you need to know how to play the game. So I think that's a very nice guiding principle that you just came up with. Ben, did you want to add anything there? Is there anybody who has like a thematic or anything like that they want to shout out that hasn't been covered?
For me, it's all about unlocking utility or unlocking potential use cases. So like for me, I really like DeepIn, the DeepIn narrative. It's just unlocking true utility in the space that we're investing in here. It's showing kind of a real world use case for a lot of these projects. Also, the BTC ecosystem is really interesting to me. I just feel like there's a lot of value to be unlocked there, and kind of what's happened on let's call it Ethereum and all the alternative chain ecosystems. I still feel like the BTC ecosystem has a bunch of potential there to unlock, and as that ecosystem grows, there's going to be a ton of projects, maybe some successful, some not, that will grow out of that. And then also data and privacy are really interesting to me. There's a whole batch of projects that are finishing up their raises right now, and should be coming to market here relatively soon, that are kind of focused on the privacy and data privacy vertical. So those areas to me are really interesting.
Awesome. And nobody's mentioned anything about layer 2s on Ethereum really right now, which is quite interesting in itself. I don't know if anybody's got any comments on that. And also somebody in the chat is like, what the fuck is DeepIn? So anybody want to cover those two things?
We've skipped layer 2s. We now moved into layer 3. We're on DGen now already.
I'm on layer 5. I'm on layer 5 right now.
Yeah, for me, I'm focused on gaming, and then more gaming, and then throwing some AI into the games. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen with like VR games. I think that's going to be a big thing this cycle. I know of some really, really good ones that are being built. And then AI within games is going to be a game changer in my opinion. We've spoken about a lot of stuff about investing in bear markets. We started speaking to a project called Today, sometime a year and a half ago, and they were kind of trying everything to try and raise some money. Now they're $10 million oversubscribed. So it just shows like you have to try and find these deals in a bear market, because trying to get into good deals in this kind of market is next to impossible.
But like Josh mentioned, that's a good example of a game that actually has a working product. And the fact that it has AI sort of like baked into it does make it exceptionally interesting. But it's a much more mature looking thing than you might have seen 2-3 years ago with the last cycle, when it was Axie Infinity kind of driven, right? Sorry for name dropping Axie Infinity. Guys, we're sort of at the time, the whole purpose was to get an understanding of your view of the market, where we are, where we think we're headed. Also, like what is interesting right now, and I think you've covered that. That's great. So for Commonwealth and for everyone listening, like when should Commonwealth be having the next fund? Is it like ASAP, like immediately, or would you like take your time? Oliver, you said some things which have been very, very interesting. Makes me want to not invest in any early stage startups potentially and go straight into Bitcoin and Ethereum DCA over the next 2 to 3 years. I know that's not what you're saying, because I think there's room for everything in the portfolio. And what Kyle said earlier was extremely true, in the fact that most people who are trading the short term on the markets, the statistics are heavily against you in terms of like doing well. But something like Commonwealth, which is a system which is supposed to unlock this early stage value, which, let's face it, does extremely well for a lot of people who are in a closed system, is now becoming an open system. So Commonwealth isn't the only solution for the future, but it's definitely new and different. And there is going to be a fund on there pretty soon. Like, what should that fund be? And like, when should that happen? And then we close it off after that.
I think this may go more up to the previous comment on what everyone is sort of bullish on in the industry, right? Because my thinking is way more different to, I guess, everyone else's, or focus on gaming, right? Mine is, I don't really care, right? I'm a profit maxi. Like, I don't care if it comes from Bitcoin, Ethereum, the next dog on Solana. Like, I don't give a shit, right? Doesn't matter to me. Like, my goal is to make as much money as humanly possible. That's why everyone got in this industry in the first place. Maybe there's a few outliers to that, but unlikely. I think a lot of people, especially on the venture side, right, they're very insecure, right? All they want to do is like be as big as Paradigm, or sit at the table with Paradigm, right? It's never happening. Why not just sell to Paradigm? Like, that's it. It's very simple. Like, everyone kind of follows a narrative that somebody else is talking about. You need to be looking at like, what are the Andreessens and the Paradigms and these funds that are insanely overcapitalized and can just raise money consistently? What are they wanting to buy in 6 to 9 months? And then you buy it now, right? All of the deals, like over this paper is my 4th fund now. I did 3 funds, obviously, with Ascensive. Our top 5 deals out of those 3 funds I did at Ascensive, every single deal was ones that nobody wanted to put money into. And that was YGG seed, nobody wanted. Frax seed, nobody wanted. Like, it took like 6 to 9 months to fill those rounds. And that was the best performance out of the entire fund. So looking outside the box, especially if you're doing super early stage stuff, or right at to market, like Jack's saying, like, they're completely different strategies, right? So depends what people want on the Commonwealth side. If you want to do super early stage or right just before launch stage, like, and those strategies completely vary.
Oliver, what they want is exactly what you said at the start. They want money, man. So if that's the goal, then you're in the right place. And Oliver, are you ready to like refer some deals over to a fund for Commonwealth? That's a question. Is everybody here ready to do that? Are you actively investing? Is there going to be something there to refer? That's the question.
No.
Yeah, I think the name of the
I was gonna say, I think not. I think we definitely should be waiting before deploying capital into early stage venture. I think now is the time for more like liquid strategies. Be it trading or, right now you can get 43% or on USDC on Drift. Like, it's insane. There's just like insane opportunities in this market. And that, and valuations are just way too high. Founders are way too cocky, and it's going to be incredibly difficult to make any money on early stage companies right now. Because a lot, especially when you consider the risk reward, a lot of the early stage companies that you invest in right now might not even make it to the next cycle, right? They might not survive the bear market.
I'll tell you why it might be different for us. I mean, we've been building Commonwealth. We've been building this for 2.5+ years, and like started telling, we keep it like internal for a while. Then we started like reaching out, like, hey, what do you think about this thing? And then, like, they give us all kinds of like poke holes and everything, right? And then so we'd have to go back to the drawing board and figure it out. Like, and John and Tim, they're good friends with Rayan, and he was like, how do you guys think you're going to be able to get deals? Like, it's like all the tier ones are fighting for cap table space for the best rounds. Well, I'll tell you what, man. Since my YouTube channel has gotten very big, I don't have to fight for shit. Like, I did. Like, people just come and give me an allocation in a KOL round that's cheaper than every other seed round investor, and I think that's what Commonwealth has the power to do. If we can generate, if we become the massive guerrilla army, we're the best KOL check that anyone could ever write. You know what I mean? Like by giving a check to Commonwealth, you assure that you're going to get noticed, right? Because you go to market with an army on board. There's no better check that a fund could accept, or a project could accept than like this. This is why YGG and Merit Circle went from nothing to a tier 1 VC. Like, say you saw A16, Sequoia, YGG, Gabby. What? Gabby? Why Gabby? Because he's got 10,000 players who are going to play your game. That's why. Brings value, So I think that this is I think it's a good point, but I'll tell you what, I think this is a bit different. This is what makes this special, and we had to figure out how do you get aligned, to be able to get all parties super involved and super interested in that and making that ecosystem work. So, yeah,
I think an interesting point also is that there's two different main types of, well, there's more than two, but two main types of investment that are often happening right now, and that would be liquid market strategies or OTC and early stage. And honestly, I think what's really cool with this is that Commonwealth can be both. There's no reason why we can't bring some really strong liquid market tokens and do OTC deals with them. And in exchange, what we're bringing to them is the community. That's what every project wants. They want to get noticed. They want people to be there. And I do think that we can get creative as oracles and as experts in this space by bringing some pretty strong deals that have a lot more liquidity already available to them. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things that can be done here. I know that as Commonwealth grows and as we get more people that are ravenous and interested and want to get involved with projects, and this is a huge currency in itself. If we can build the type of community that that every project founder wants to have involved with them, then we can go and bring that to both liquid market tokens and to early stage tokens. And and make sure that we get the deals that are going to keep everything going and obviously line all of our pockets.
You're not wrong there, Josh. I'm just looking at these comments when they're coming through. There's like, these guys would be awesome to go for a beer with. I think that this call is making the market turn just by itself. The oracles all in one place. There's some cool stuff going on in the chats here.
One thing I want to.
I'm conscious that we've run out of time, but Kyle, I'll go to you, and then any last thoughts from anybody, and then we'll just get to wrapping it up soon.
One thing I want to say is like when we talk about community, like there's some people fucking use that word horrendously, right? I was watching a panel of meme coin experts said, "Oh yeah, dude, that community over there is the fucking best, strongest community, bro." Like, dude, this motherfucker thought about a meme last night and used AI, generate it, put up a website in 10 minutes, and popped out a pre-sale. There's no fucking community there, man. Like, there's zero loyalty, right? There's no community. We as an industry, we got away from the idea of getting the retail involved. The best communities, man, were in 2017. You had like strong communities. Why? Because these sold 50 or 60% of the tokens to the public. Public got in, right? They got in. They got access to early deals. That went away in 2021. We got used to these ridiculously smoke and mirrors bullshit 200, 300, 400 X's, which are completely fabricated, right? Manipulated 100%. And so, and there's no loyalty community. But when everyone says, "Oh, I want to go use this launchpad because they're the most hyped," and you're gonna do no, man. Let me tell you what. No one gets into those things. It's extremely rare. Most of those tokens go to the founders, and like it's just a fugazi, right? It makes the appearance, and all the social media accounts are fake followers. There's no real community. It's horrendous what's going on right now. It's all a game to get listed on things and have the perception of a good project when you don't ship with anything fundamental, right? And there's no longevity in that, in something like that.
You mean and these so-called communities, you can see with like a lot of these NFT projects from the last run, as soon as like these floor prices go down, these communities disappear and they start turning on the founders. So I agree that communities aren't real. Like all of these followers are fake. The engagement isn't real.
It takes time to build. It takes time to build.
Yes, it takes time. It takes time.
You have to deliver.
I think one point.
We're getting deep into the debate. Karen, go ahead.
Yeah, one point is like, of course, like as a founder, apart from building the tech, you also need to educate the market and sort of create distribution, right? Which is the key factor now. And the big problem is nowadays distribution is more about social farming than actually educating the audience and retail about it. And of course, like I agree to Kyle's point, like in the last season, the community or retail had the opportunity to make money. This season, it's all about how do we get into these high valuations? It's launching at freaking 5-6 billions, and how do you make that multiple, right? So I think our purpose as Oracles is to get the deals for Commonwealth so that the community also wins, and then we go it together as an army, right? So,
amen to that.
100%.
I don't know
so,
if it's
Tim, there was just
this off. John, go ahead.
Tim, I've just looked through a few of the comments. There's a very, very interesting one that I think maybe you can answer. It says, will Commonwealth integrate factors beyond pure profitability into their investment criteria, such as environmental impact or social good?
Wow, you put me on the spot there. It's something to look into. I'm a bit more sensitive to what Oliver said before, which is that he's a money-making maxi, and that's his driver. And Commonwealth was created with the ambition of leveling the playing field for financial opportunity. So that's got to be the number one driver. But I don't see why the community can't ask for things and make it happen, right? It's a community-owned protocol.
So we're not creating the new hottest DEI fund?
Maybe we are. I don't know. Kyle?
No, I'll tell you that whoever asked the question, it's never, ever come up in a workshop that we've ever had in the past 2.5 years on that. I think that, that's we should do one thing exceptionally well. And that's what we designed this entire autonomous machine to do, is to do one thing really, really well. It does it exceptionally well. And what I love about what Commonwealth has done and what Paid we're doing, what Paid is more on the public sale side of things, so it's completely different, but is really, you don't see tokens being applied correctly or revenue and value that a product or team creates being actually represented by the underlying token, right? It's almost never seen. Even something like Rollbit, a small percentage of that revenue goes back into the token. But why do they have a token? They don't really need it. They just wanted it for liquidity or whatever. But like, it's a small 10, 20, and 30% of each of the 3 products. So if you had like a Sequoia that was like global, right? Sequoia is global, and then all that profit, all that revenue came under one economy, and that was their GDP, like that was represented by a token. That's what things should look like, and this is what this is one of those exciting things I want to show off, is like how this all works, because then people will actually start to understand. Wait a minute, why isn't 100% revenue going back to the token? Like, what are you guys doing? It's scamming us. Yeah, they're scamming you guys. They're like, that's what's happening.
For Kyle, the white paper for Commonwealth, we've got a light paper that's out right now. The white paper is coming very, very soon, so everyone should look out for that. But I'm conscious we've kept you guys for a long time. I know Ben really needs to go and find a breakfast somewhere. Same with Jack. Dave's probably going off to bed soon. Thanks everybody for joining. Is there anybody with a burning comment that hasn't been raised? Yeah,
we
Jack.
should do an event in Token 2049 for all that are going to be there. I'd love to get, I don't know if any community members are going to be there, but I would definitely love to get the oracles together and just whoever else.
Yeah, we have community in Dubai, and I think that's a great idea. Let's get it on.
We should do some sort of campaign where we can fly the top 2 winners or something in, put them up in Tim's room, the bunk bed, and
there you go. I like it.
Let's aim for the 17th of May. That would be a good time.
17th of April, you mean?
April, yeah.
Guys, thank you very much, one and all. It's been like jam-packed. I've got so many notes, and I've got a video that I'm going to play back and try to take out the nuggets, but it was really, really top-level discussion and alpha. I hope the community enjoyed it. All Street, this is for you. And yeah, everybody, see you in Dubai. If we don't see you in Dubai, we'll see you at the next All Street Beat. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
guys.